Hello and welcome to Consumers Corner. I, of course, am the mass consumer, Michael Cashmere, and with me today is KSI. KSI, how you doing?
Doing great.
All right. So we all know you've had some things going on recently, and we're just going to get right into them. So talk to me a little bit about Morgan Le Fay.
It's a dark point. It almost brought me back to something I avoided that Omega actually helped me get away from back in Japan. I don't know what happened. I saw what was going on. I knew I was hitting people. I was attacking people, not being myself, doing dirty tactics. And recently during the match, just this past week with Angelique, something changed, something snapped out of it. I started to feel myself again.
So you didn't know what was happening to you?
No, not at all. Last thing I remember was challenging for the title in the hallway. And next thing I remember from there was bits and pieces, flashes of striking people with a kendo stick, winning the title again the week prior. I had a flash of fighting Cannibal. It was just all these things. And then it all of a sudden just clicked and flashed during the match with Angelica, and it was.
All right. So you're part of what we're calling the Pure Wrestling Initiative. However, we all know that the Power Base did ban changing the Bloodsport title over to the Pure Wrestling title. So what are your thoughts on that? I know that there's been a lot of talk both ways, but how do you feel?
It's a clear sign to show, just like what Man of War said, the Power Base is failing. They're doing actions that are directly putting everybody that performs here in danger. Every match we watch, there's some form of attack or weapon used or dirty tactic that risks the safety of somebody. Myself and Man of War and a couple other like-minded people and stuff they want to make things better and have something where we can showcase the talent that we all have without the fear of injuries beyond the standard of the business.
But we all know that wrestling is a physical business, and one wrong move can end your career. So wouldn't it make more sense to go into a match or a confrontation knowing that you're putting your body on the line in that fashion versus where maybe you just slip on, some sweat on the mat and next thing you know, you're out of the business?
Well, it's simple because the people, everyone around here, the mentality that's been bred recently is the business has one-upmanship all the time. We're always trying to one-up each other, outperform each other, pop the crowd better, get the attention. And when you involve this free will to just use weapons or whatever you can grab, before you know it, we're going to have people not just injured, out of the business, and alive. We're going to have people dead, unable to do anything ever again.
There's some who would say that maybe you just aren't cut out for the wrestling business, and that's why you're afraid of Bloodsport and the Bloodsport title. What do you say to that?
They can say that, but there's a simple fact. I come from a culture, a tradition where everything is about fighting, doing everything as hard as you can. But there is a level of respect in rules and understanding to the contest that you perform in. This isn't a war. This isn't battle. This isn't life or death. This is a profession where we put ourselves out there to put on a show and show that we are better.
All right. So we all know that it is sponsor wars right now and that you were drafted by the Kellogg's kid. So how do you feel about that?
Not necessarily the group I would prefer to be with. We've all seen the actions that Kid and the rest of the SOSW have been involved with over the past few months. And again, Man of War brought into also, me and him are very clear on the same thing. We're surprised that at times that kid is even allowed to be free on the streets. But myself, with my code of honor and doing what's required, I'll do my best to help them win. I'm going to do it my way. So if he tries to do something that I feel is completely wrong and immoral, I won't go that route. I will do what I need to get the win in the setting that it is. And just even with Man of War, being even a bad guy, he still has a code and understanding that there's a bond, there's a requirement that we have with this business. He just also understands there's a place to have control and things decided in a proper way.
So you mentioned the Society of Serious Wrestlers. How serious do you really think they are?
Honestly, it's a mockery of the word. But it's just the actions, and it's repetitively. Most of the time it's fun loving simple stuff, but there's always that step where there is no line, there is no boundary, and they just push it and they just go to it and they do it.
So we all know that comedy wrestlers are something that are always going to exist. But in your perfect world, where would they exist?
There is a place for them. Like I said, this is a business of entertainment and professionalism and getting the fans engaged in it. And comedy wrestlers can do that well. They can create things out of nothing. It's a skill they have. But there needs to be a boundary set with it too. So there needs to be a level of control established. Obviously, it's not easy to do. But as for a set place for them, you really can't separate them. You'll never be able to separate them away.
So back to Team Kellogg's. If you look at the roster of Team Kellogg's, how do you really feel that they measure up against the other teams?
There's no denying the skill that even the comedy wrestlers and the, won't even say comedy, we'll say the little bit more oddballs of society of the wrestling business that we have, they're the ones that will basically, if they get in the ring and they actually perform and try to win, they're very dangerous, and they have that extra factor of a lot of people will not take them serious. So that's the real benefit of this team with everything else that comes with it. People are not going to expect them to be the bulldozer types, the run through to just straight punch you in the face. They're going to catch you because you're not paying attention to what they can actually do.
I think that I'm going to touch a little bit of a sore subject with you on the next question. So please understand that I am a serious broadcast journalist. The community has given you, let's say, a nickname of heel face. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it doesn't bother me. Let them have their thoughts. And the simple fact is, this place, Federation X, has had this whole thing of always being the ones to push the boundary, to be this rougher, tougher place. But the reality is, when people challenge them in a way that is with honor and by the rules of wrestling, what do they typically do? They try and run them off. They try and tear them down. It doesn't work on me. So they want a heel face. I'll create the true meaning for heel face soon enough. They want stuff rough. They're going to get things rough. It'll be in a ring. It'll be sanctioned. And if they attack, I'll defend myself. And what happens, happens. Because plain and simple, I was raised how to fight, how to survive. And so if they want to keep pushing it, soon they're going to start to get it.
All right. Now we're to everybody's favorite part of Consumers Corner, name association. So I'm going to throw out some names and you just give me 1, 2 words, maybe a couple sentences about them. Uh, if you feel like talking longer, go right ahead. We've seen a lot of returning faces recently. So let's start off with Brute Bernard.
Brute. Never associated with him myself directly, but I've seen his time in NGPW in the past. The man, the monster that he is, it was a pure wrecking machine. He's older now, so we'll see what he has still left. But even an old dog, vicious like he is still as dangerous as he was before. So people better hope they don't think he's not what he used to be, because that same old destroyer that was there before is still there.
All right, let's go next with Aaron Action.
No real comments. I've interacted with him once since the return. Never really saw anything about him before. Seems okay enough. Amazingly skilled in the ring for a man of his size, but hey, we always have those people in the business.
Let's go with Philly Fats.
Know nothing on him.
Lionel.
Lionel. Nothing either.
Zoe Masterson.
Oh, all I know is that my good friend Marcus Omega has recently been speaking with her. Beyond that, I've not really talked with Omega much recently in the past few weeks. We've kind of been, well, obviously I've been not around the old guard. Things have not been, so he's had his stuff, I've had my things. So I haven't had a chance to talk with him about it. So beyond that, I just know she's, a daughter of the business.
Techno.
Daughter of him. So he is something I never got to see much of before, but since he's been back and I've seen him, it's an impressive, obviously he's older, but the fight that he put on with Maverick Dawson and stuff was epic.
So let's
Never
go with
missed a step.
let's go with Maverick Dawson.
Of a great young talent that hopefully being around Marcus will see the light and get back to what he said he was originally was going to be his goal in the industry, which was not far of mine. Hard nose, be a face, do the right thing, but be willing to fight as hard as you have to. Unfortunately, that's not what's happened. He decided to take the easy route of going to a heel status and getting the easy jeers or cheers from the crowds. And it's sad.
And let's end with the one, the only, your stable wars sponsor wars captain, the Kellogg's Kid.
Pure definition of wild card. We've seen all the wild stuff, and we've seen when he actually gets a bit more serious about something. A very tough person to get past. You don't think he has the skill he has in the ring, but when he decides to do it, it's there. You just gotta hope you can distract him and catch him off guard, or make him be too focused on other stuff going on to catch him.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much, KSI, for joining me today. I'll give you just a minute here to say any parting thoughts.
I'll just say this. While the Bloodsport title will remain that until the power base deems it's okay for us to put it back to what plain and simply it should be, we don't need all of the violence in every single division, because that's what we have right now. Give us a place for the people on the roster to showcase honorable, by the rules wrestling and show who's actually better. Anybody can win by hitting somebody in the head with a sledgehammer or a bat, which is something that I've experienced because I've lost my old tag partner PMX to injury, and we still don't know when he's coming back because they allow and they acted like they did something to stop this violence. But then what do? They reward, they keep pushing a belt that is pure anarchy and chaos. Use whatever you want. But by the end of this, I will find a way to switch it. It will go back, and I will make sure it stays that way.
All right. Thank you very much, KSI, for joining me today. Everybody, please stay tuned for the rest of the activities we have going on today. And remember, sponsor wars going on right now. Thanks, guys.